Are you tired of taking damage in Destiny 2 and don't want death to even be an option anymore? Well then do I have the perfect thing for you, because after using this one simple trick, staying alive is as simple as saying no to the damage trying to kill you. So strap in for this long drawn out overcomplicated explanation. Nah, I'm just kidding, it's literally just Vexcalibur plus the 4-piece Swordmaster set bonus. Now, if you don't already know, the Swordmaster set bonuses are hitting an enemy with a sword, glaive, or melee applies exhaust to the enemy, which reduces their outgoing damage by 25% for the 2-piece. And then blocking damage with a glaive or sword grants 50% damage resistance for 4 seconds after dropping your guard for the 4-piece bonus. So when you stack both of those with the overshield you get from blocking with Vexcalibur, you pretty much just say no to death. I mean, unless you're blocking with your back to a bunch of enemies and high-level content, or you're just chilling in an environmental hazard. I mean, it can only save you from so much stupidity. By the way, the clips of me dying are for demonstrational purposes only. Also, the Swordmaster set is pretty amazing with any glaive or sword, but Vexcalibur just adds on a nice extra layer of survivability with that overshield. Plus, Vexcalibur pairs amazingly with some of the Renegades artifact mods, like Power from Pain, Singularity Blade, and Void Infestation, which can allow you to spread Weaken to literally everything, and also grants you Devour for just melee killing enemies with Vexcalibur while you have an overshield active, which should be active almost all of the time since you refresh it by simply blocking or getting melee kills with Vexcalibur. Now, I do have some builds I'd personally recommend for each class, but honestly, you can just slap this combo on pretty much any build you like and you're going to be pretty dang tanky. But before some quick build recommendations, I'd like to mention the different traits you can pick from on Vexcalibur. Personally, I really like Feedback Refit since it loads ammo into your mag for simply blocking damage, which you should be doing all of the time with this thing. So it pretty much makes you feel like you have a bigger mag than you do, which is great for pretty much all content. Then there's Robber Refit, which reloads your glaive on melee kills, which is great for when you're just kind of slaying out, but it might not really be that useful all of the time. And last off, we have Immovable Refit, which gives you 90% more glaive shield energy when shooting enemies while you're blocking and stationary, which is great for when you need to play a bit slower for harder content, and if you need to conserve ammo. But if you're just trying to melee killing everything and slaying out, it really won't be that helpful. Now onto the builds. For Warlocks, I'd like to quickly recommend pairing it with Controverse Hold Chunking, if it still exists. If not, I'm sorry, like you missed out. It was a gosh dang match made in heaven. The only threat in my solo flawless equilibrium was getting yeeted off the map. Anyways, onto my actual recommendation for Warlock. I personally really like using it with this melee build using Arcane Needle with Lightning Surge and Devour, and then pairing that with an exotic class item with Spirit of Necrotic and Spirit of Synthoceps. Or you can also use Winter's Guile for a stronger melee buff that requires some build-up. But let's be honest, even though a melee build makes sense to pair with a glaive, if you're playing Warlock, you're probably just going to be using Getaway Artist Buddy build, and like yeah, I'm sure that's going to work amazingly with this combo. Anyways, on to Titan. Probably no surprise that one of my favorite options is going to be Strand Titan with Banner of War. Now there's two paths I like to take with Strand Titan, either using Worm Gods to just full on lean into glaive meleeing everything, or go with Wishful Ignorance for that big ability damage. Honestly, it just really depends on what activity you're doing and how you like to play. Personally, I kind of just enjoy playing like a stereotypical Titan and just meleeing everything, but both are great options. I also really like using Void Titan for the synergy that Vexcalibur and Offensive Bulwark have. Like you pretty much always have an overshield because of Excalibur, so you're constantly getting the extra melee damage and increased grenade recharge rate that Offensive Bulwark gives you for having an overshield. And I'd like to recommend using Controlled Demolition as the second aspect, since the other two are for giving overshield and blocking damage, and we pretty much got that covered. Also, once again, I like to use Worm Gods for this type of build. Now for last, and certainly least, Hunters. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot you existed, but don't worry, I spent like 5 seconds cooking up a really nice recommendation for you guys. Well, in theory, I don't actually have the 4-piece set, so I can't actually test it. But yeah, I feel like Triton Vice on Prismatic or Void could be a really solid option. Maybe? Sorry, Hunters, that's all I got for you. But hey, if any Hunters have a good build for this combo, let me know in the comments. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you happen to enjoy, a like and subscribe would be hugely appreciated, and I'll see you around.